tonight we're going to be discussing why people of religion have a tendency to think, well, hey, we can say what you do and what you don't do in your bedroom. Because if you're gay or straight or whatever, you go in their bedroom, we want to know what you're doing. Are you doing man on top, woman on top? Are you doing it from behind? Are you doing whatever? And if it's not, are you going in there to make children? Because if you're not going in to make children, you shouldn't be doing it at all. Why does religion, that's the basic topic tonight, is why religion thinks that they can control what we do privately in our bedrooms. And we're going to start the timer. And the timer is there. Here it is. And we're going to start with Connie. And your thoughts on this, Connie, starting now.
Well, the need to control in a relationship is actually abuse. And I would say that, as far as religion itself, it gets its cues from its holy books. In Christianity's case, the Bible. God is the ultimate abusive spouse, parent, because, it's an abusive person is suffocating, confusing, and distressing. There's moodiness. A signal of a controlling person is that they're very narcissistic. They throw hissy fits. Mm-hmm. And they want to control every aspect of your life. Where have you been? Where are you going? There's nothing so basic to our needs as, the need for food and shelter and affection. We are all born sexual beings. And so what kind of a mental abuse is this kind of control? And it's a whole carrot and the stick thing. I mean, mm-hmm. If you're good, then you get to go to heaven. If you're bad, then you get the fear of that punishment. So no, and the problem with the sexual, controlling what people do in their bedroom, just from the standpoint too, like you mentioned about children, mm-hmm. In some of more fundamentalists, which I was a part of, there's a lot of, the man is the one in charge, and God should be the one in charge of how many children you have, and he should be in charge, and you shouldn't be able to say no to your husband.
Oh yeah, that's a big one. That is the big one right there. It's
I experienced that kind of teaching,
mm-hmm.
and so it's it's awful. It's debilitating as a person, as a couple. People think that the men might really like that, but honestly, what those men who are in these churches where they teach this kind of a thing, where you're the dominant and the woman is you're sheltering her, but she's submissive to you in the home. There's a lot of resentment. There's a lot of resentment for the men, and I don't blame them of being the one responsible, the one making all the decisions, and the one making all the moves, and the abuse winds up happening either verbally, emotionally, or physically on the women and on the kids, mm-hmm. or the man on himself. And so, no, it's a very unhealthy view of life and view of sex that the church has, and especially something that's so basic to everybody.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. Dave, your thoughts?
Well, I approached this by really trying to understand the Christian position on this, so sex is a gift from God, apparently, according to them. Mm-hmm. Sex is a covenant, so it's very much considered sacred. And this led me to actually reading some C.S. Lewis, mm-hmm. which occasionally I do for laughs. But in this instance, I did it to kind of understand some of the arguments that the Christian side would be reading themselves. He proposes a thought experiment about basically saying, all right, instead of sex, let's look at it as food. Okay. And he basically says that the secular community wants to, or our view, what he's saying our view is,
right,
is that we look at, say, like a sirloin steak, and everyone's repressed and can't have it, and so everyone goes crazy and wants it. Whereas the Christian position is that when you look at it and want it, that's gluttony, and it's a sin. And you need to prevent yourself from having those sort of sinful thoughts.
Right.
So really all of that is this is what they're thinking about. They're preventing the sin. They're preventing all of that. Also, who is the number one demographic of people who go to church in America? That would end up being women around the age of 55. What do women around the age of 55 want? They want grandchildren and children. Yeah, and this controlling sex is a way for them to try to make it so that they get their grandchildren. They need to have heterosexual relationships. They have to have the preservation of in order to ensure that they're going to have marriage and actual relationships in a family type situation. They need to have commitment to virginity prior to marriage.
Right.
It's all about control. It's all about, whether it's the people in the church using religion as a control or people at the top of the church using religion as control. It all boils down to a means of control. And what better thing to control than the number one thing that we have as a human urge? I mean, what are the things that every animal needs? Every animal needs eat, sleep, survive, reproduce.
Right.
That's it.
There was actually a church that started here, a religion actually, that started here in the United States back in the early 1600s, 1700s, before we became a country, or just after we became a country. And their basic thing was they didn't want people to have sex at all. You were not allowed to have sex or have children or whatever. And guess what? Anyone who used to practice that religion is not around anymore, because how do you keep a religion going? You have sex and have children, because they force feed it on their kids.
That's why so many religions advocate having huge families. I mean, when you're religious and you're raising, 8 to 12 children to be religious as well, your numbers increase exponentially.
Right.
That's why a lot of the fundamentalist churches are adopting third world country children.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh yeah. This way they can try to bring them into the fold, as it were.
Yeah.
So
that's how religions grow: indoctrination.
Exactly. And we got like 2 seconds here, I guess. We actually got done before the timer for a change. But yeah, don't let religion tell you what you can do in your bedroom, because as long as you're consenting adults, don't follow that mantra. Because especially we were talking about, the man has to control what's going on in the bedroom because, he's the man. Fuck that. Go out. Enjoy yourself. Be safe about it.